My name is Shady. I'm 32 years old and I work as a marketing specialist at an advertising firm in Seattle. For years, I believed I had built a steady life, a career that challenged me, a cozy home in the city, and a marriage I thought was unshakable. Ryan, my husband, is 34, a software engineer with a calm, grounded presence that once made me feel secure. For 5 years, I trusted him completely, believing we were building something lasting. But everything collapsed because of one lie, a lie told not by a stranger but by Lily, the friend I had trusted the most. Looking back, I see how naive I was to believe her, and now that the truth is exposed, trust is something that cannot be repaired. If you're still listening, we want to sincerely thank you for spending your time with us. Truly means a lot. We'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and let's see how far this message has reached. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I highly recommend doing it now so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. These aren't just ordinary stories, they're filled with meaningful life lessons that can inspire, teach, and stay with you long after the video ends. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Ryan and I first met at a technology conference 7 years ago. He stood out in the crowded room not only because of his intelligence but also because of his warmth and quiet humor. He had this effortless way of making me feel safe, as if the chaos of the world couldn't touch me as long as I was standing beside him. Through 2 years of dating, filled with late-night conversations, shared dreams, and countless small adventures, we decided to get married. That time, it felt like the natural next step, the culmination of a love story that promised to last forever. But there was always a shadow lingering over us, one that I tried desperately to ignore: Lily. She had been my closest friend since college, someone I once thought of as family. Lily, now 33, worked as a freelance event planner. She was charismatic and lively, the kind of woman who drew attention the moment she walked into a room. Yet beneath that charm was a streak of selfishness that often left others drained. I had seen it many times, but I excused it, convincing myself that this was just who she was and that real friendship meant accepting flaws. From the very first time she met Ryan, I could sense her disapproval. Her smile was polite, but her eyes were sharp, scrutinizing him as if he were an opponent rather than someone important to me. She asked pointed questions about his job, about his ambitions, about his past, always with an edge that made Ryan uncomfortable. Later that night, Ryan admitted, "I don't think she likes me." I brushed it off, saying Lily was just protective. Deep down, though, I knew there was more to it. She didn't just dislike him, she seemed determined to find a crack in what we had. Her interference became more obvious as soon as we began planning our wedding. What should have been a joyful, exciting time quickly turned into a battlefield. When we showed her the venue, a charming old hall with brick walls and warm lighting, she wrinkled her nose. "It feels so provincial," she remarked. "You can do better than this, Shady." I laughed it off in the moment, but her words stung. She pushed further, insisting that the menu be changed to an entirely vegetarian spread because it's healthier and more modern, even though only a handful of our guests were vegetarian. Ryan was irritated, reminding me that this was supposed to be our celebration, not hers. The most audacious demand came when she insisted on being the maid of honor, despite the fact that my sister had already been chosen for that role. "I know you best, Shady," she said dramatically, "and I'm the only one who can really stand by you on your big day." I should have set boundaries then, but I didn't. I told myself she only wanted to help, that she had experience with events and could ease my stress. Against Ryan's protests, I gave in. "Shady, this is our wedding, not Lily's stage," Ryan warned me one evening, his voice tight with frustration. I remember rolling my eyes, asking him not to make it a bigger issue than it was. Looking back, I wish I had listened. On the day of the wedding, Lily arrived in a gown so extravagant it drew every gaze when she walked in. Her confidence radiated as if she were the star of the event. I caught my mother's disapproving glance from across the room, her head shaking slightly, but I forced a smile, determined to pretend everything was fine. At the time, I didn't see it as the warning it truly was. I thought Lily's behavior was just her personality, loud, attention-seeking, but ultimately harmless. What I didn't realize was that her need to control and dominate was only the beginning. What started with a wedding would slowly seep into the very foundation of my marriage, and I would learn too late the devastating cost of letting her into the spaces that were meant to belong only to Ryan and me. After the wedding, Lily's presence in our lives grew heavier, like a shadow that refused to lift. First, I convinced myself it was harmless. She had always been a constant figure in my life, through breakups, sleepless study nights, and endless university drama. So when she started showing up unannounced at our apartment, I brushed aside Ryan's irritation. She became a fixture in our weekends. If Ryan and I planned a short getaway, Lily somehow found a reason to tag along. A cozy dinner between just the two of us could turn into a crowded table the moment she texted, "What are you guys up to tonight?" She didn't wait for invitations. She inserted herself as though she had a permanent place in our home, our schedules, and our marriage. Ryan's patience thinned. One night, after Lily had dropped by for the third evening in a row, he sighed, rubbing his temples. "I don't have a problem with you having a best friend," he said carefully, "but Lily is controlling our lives. I feel like we don't have space for ourselves anymore." I remember defending her instantly, my words sharp with loyalty. "She's going through things, Ryan. You know how much she supported me back in college. I can't just shut her out." Deep down, I knew he was right, but guilt wrapped around me like chains. Saying no to Lily felt like betrayal. Things took a darker turn when Lily's relationship with Jake, a musician she had been dating for nearly a year, abruptly ended. Jake had always been gentle and easygoing, and while I had never been close to him, I thought he balanced out Lily's fiery temperament. But one Friday night, as Ryan and I were preparing a small dinner gathering at home, the doorbell rang. There she was, eyes swollen, mascara smudged, dragging a suitcase behind her. "He left me," she sobbed before I could even ask. "Jake broke up with me. By text. Said we weren't compatible." My heart clenched. I pulled her into a hug, feeling her tremble. She looked so small, so lost, and my instinct was to protect. When she asked if she could stay for a few days, I agreed immediately. Ryan stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. His face was unreadable, but I noticed the flicker of unease in his eyes. "Of course you can stay," I said, my voice firm, almost daring him to object. He didn't, but the way his jaw tightened told me he was far from okay. Lily's few days stretched into weeks. Our home transformed around her presence. The living room, once a calm space where Ryan and I curled up with books or movies, became her territory. Clothes and notebooks sprawled across the couch. TV blasted reality shows at full volume from morning till midnight. She cooked sporadically, leaving the kitchen in chaos, grease-splattered counters, pots piled high in the sink. One evening, I found Ryan quietly cleaning up the mess she'd left behind after making pasta. His shoulders slumped, his hands moving methodically as if he were holding back words. When our eyes met, his disappointment was unmistakable. I promised myself I would talk to Lily, but every time I tried, she unraveled into tears. "You think I want to be here, burdening you?" she cried one night. "I've lost everything, Shady. And now you want to abandon me too?" My resolve melted. I hugged her, whispering that she wasn't a burden, that she had me no matter what. Each time, I betrayed Ryan a little more, pushing aside his quiet suffering in favor of Lily's storms. The breaking point came with Ryan's project. He had been working for months on a wooden model train set, delicate, intricate pieces he sanded and painted with patience I admired. It was his refuge after long hours at the office, a hobby that brought him calm. One morning, I walked into the living room to find Lily crouched over the pieces, gluing and painting them in bizarre patterns. "What are you doing?" I asked, confused. She looked up, smiling brightly. "I'm turning these into an art therapy project." My therapist says I need creative outlets. Horror washed over me. Lily, those are Ryan's. He's been working on them for months. She shrugged. He won't mind. It's just wood. When Ryan came home and saw the ruined model, his face darkened in a way I had never seen before. His voice, usually calm, erupted like thunder. She destroyed it, Shady. Something I've worked on for months, just gone without even asking. I tried to soothe him. She didn't mean harm, but he cut me off, his eyes blazing. No. Enough. This isn't about one mistake. It's about how she's taken over our lives. Shady, she has to leave. I can't live like this anymore. The firmness in his voice shook me. For the first time, I realized how deeply Lily's presence had fractured us. My heart twisted between loyalty to my husband and pity for my friend. But Ryan's pain was undeniable. I nodded slowly, tears stinging my eyes. Confrontation with Lily was brutal. I told her gently that it was time she found her own space. She exploded. So that's it? He controls you so much that you're throwing me out? Ryan's manipulating you, Shady. He's always wanted me gone because he knows I see through him. Her words cut, sharp and venomous. I wanted to shout back, to defend Ryan, but guilt kept me silent. She packed her things with dramatic flourishes, slamming doors and muttering curses under her breath. When the door finally closed behind her, the apartment felt heavier, not lighter. I collapsed onto the couch, my body trembling. Ryan sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. For once, we were united in relief, though the silence between us carried scars. I told myself it was over, that Lily's departure would restore peace. But deep down, a gnawing fear lingered. Lily was not someone who faded quietly from anyone's life. She thrived on drama, on control. As much as I wanted to believe she was gone for good, a part of me knew this was only the beginning of something far more destructive. It was a bright Saturday afternoon, a few months after Lily had left our apartment, when I met her for brunch. We had fallen into a routine, seeing each other once every couple of weeks, catching up over coffee and eggs Benedict at the same cafe near Pike Place. Despite all the chaos she had caused in my marriage, I still found myself drawn back into her orbit. Part of it was habit, part of it guilt, and part of it the illusion that she was the only one who truly understood me. That day, she was unusually quiet at first, stirring her latte as if she were rehearsing lines in her head. Then, she leaned forward, her voice low and deliberate. "Shady, I need to tell you something. And you're not going to like it." My stomach tightened. "What is it?" "I saw Ryan last night," she said, pausing as if to measure my reaction. "He was at a bar near Lake Union. And he wasn't alone." My breath caught in my chest. "What do you mean?" Her eyes narrowed, brimming with a mix of sympathy and triumph. "He was with another woman. Not just talking, Shady. I saw him kissing her, holding her close like she was the only one in the room. He was wearing that gray coat of his, the one with the elbow patches. I couldn't believe it myself, but it was definitely him." The words hit me like a blow. Ryan? My Ryan? The man who, despite all his frustrations with Lily, had stood by me through years of building a life together? My world tilted. I forced out a laugh, brittle and weak. "You must be mistaken. He was home last night. He said he had work to do." But Lily shook her head, unwavering. "I'm your best friend. Do you think I'd make this up? I wouldn't lie to you, Shady. I saw what I saw." The rest of brunch passed in a haze. I nodded and pretended to listen as she filled in more details, the bar's neon sign, the way Ryan brushed the woman's hair behind her ear, how they left together, laughing. Each description carved deeper into my mind until I could almost see it, like a film reel I hadn't witnessed but could never unsee. When I returned home, my heart was pounding so violently it hurt. Ryan was at his desk, headphones on, working on his laptop. He looked up with a smile, the kind of smile that once made me feel safe. But now it felt like a mask-hiding betrayal. "I need to ask you something," I said, my voice trembling. "Sure," he replied, setting the laptop aside. "Where were you last night?" He blinked, confused. "At home. You know that. I told you I had to finish the report for Monday." "Don't lie to me, Ryan." My voice cracked, sharp with pain. "Lily saw you. She saw you at a bar near Lake Union. She saw you kissing some woman. She described everything, your gray coat, the way you touched her. Don't deny it." For a moment, silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. Ryan's expression shifted from confusion to shock to wounded disbelief. "Shady," he whispered, "you think I would do that? You think I'd cheat on you?" I crossed my arms as if holding myself together. "She's my best friend. Why would she lie?" His eyes burned with hurt. "And I'm your husband. After everything we've built, after 5 years, you'd rather believe Lily than me?" I wanted to scream yes, because the images she painted were so vivid, so precise. Yet I couldn't bring myself to answer. Instead, I whispered, "I need you to leave for now. I can't look at you. I need space." Ryan stared at me, his face breaking in slow motion. "You're really going to let her come between us again?" He didn't raise his voice, but the weight of his words crushed me. He grabbed his jacket, yes, the same gray one Lily had mentioned, and walked out, the door closing softly behind him. For a full week, I lived in limbo. The apartment felt hollow, like a stage after the play has ended. I replayed Lily's words over and over, and every time I saw Ryan's coat hanging in the closet, my stomach twisted. The night I lay awake, imagining him with the mystery woman, her laugh, his hands on her waist, the intimacy that should have been mine. Ryan texted once, asking if we could talk. I didn't reply. The silence felt safer than risking the possibility that he'd lie again. My mind was already made up, though I barely admitted it to myself. After 7 days of torment, I packed a suitcase. I couldn't bear the memories carved into every corner of our home, the dinners, the laughter, the quiet mornings. I left the keys on the kitchen counter and sent Ryan a single message. "We should separate for now. My lawyer will contact you with the papers." I didn't wait for his response. The following weeks blurred into grief and anger. I buried myself in work, telling colleagues that Ryan and I had grown apart. The truth was more jagged. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and hollowed out. Every time my phone buzzed with Lily's name, I answered, clinging to her reassurances. She comforted me, telling me I deserved better, telling me she had always known Ryan wasn't trustworthy. Her words were poison disguised as medicine. Meanwhile, whispers spread through our circle of friends. Somehow, news of Ryan's supposed affair traveled faster than wildfire. People looked at me with pity, offered sympathetic hugs, whispered behind his back. Ryan's invitations dried up, no more game nights, no casual beers after work. He was marked, tainted by scandal. I saw him once at a grocery store, weeks after I left. He looked thinner, tired, his shoulders slumped under invisible weight. Our eyes met across the aisle, and for a moment I almost believed he would come over, explain, beg. But he didn't. He just nodded once, a gesture of acknowledgement before turning away. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself he deserved it, that the isolation, the rumors, the quiet judgment from our friends was justice for what he had done. But at night, when I lay in bed alone, I felt the hollowness spread, filling every part of me. The worst part was the doubt. Not doubt about Lily's story, I clung to that as my truth, but doubt about myself. How had I missed the signs? How had I been so blind to who Ryan really was? My love, my marriage, my life, all reduced to ashes because of one night I hadn't even witnessed with my own eyes. I thought I was free of him. But the truth was, even in separation, Ryan haunted me. 2 months later, an unexpected message popped up on my phone. It was from Emma, an old friend I hadn't spoken to in years. "Shady," she wrote. "I need to see you. It's about Lily. She lied about Ryan." I froze, reading those words over and over again, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might faint. For weeks, I had tried to numb myself, to move on, to accept that my marriage had shattered beyond repair. Yet in that single moment, Emma's message cracked open everything I thought I knew. When we met, Emma showed me screenshots of her conversation with Lily. My hands trembled as I read Lily's smug words. Lily had bragged about fabricating the entire story of Ryan's infidelity, mocking me as naive, and saying she couldn't stand seeing me happy in a marriage while she was constantly failing in love. Every sentence burned through me like fire. I felt sick, betrayed, humiliated, and foolish all at once. Ryan had been innocent. He had been loyal. And I had destroyed our marriage because I chose to believe Lily's venom over the man I had promised to love and trust. I met Ryan at a park near his new apartment. He stood there, calm but distant, a man who had already endured too much. He didn't rage. He didn't accuse. He simply handed me the same screenshots Emma had shared, his voice steady yet cutting. "Lily didn't just lie," he said coldly. "She mocked you behind your back. She enjoyed breaking us apart." My eyes filled with tears as the weight of my mistake came crashing down. I wanted to scream, to beg, to take back every rash word, every doubt, every cruel moment when I had let suspicion drown love. "Ryan," I sobbed, "I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'll cut Lily off forever. I'll go to counseling with you. I'll do anything. Just give us another chance." But Ryan shook his head, his gaze unwavering. "Shady, this isn't just about Lily," he said. "It's about you. You chose to trust her over me. You believed a friend's poison instead of your husband's truth. That choice broke something in me that can't be repaired. Trust, once lost, doesn't return." His words hit harder than any scream could have. There was no anger in them, only finality. I felt the air leave my lungs. For the first time, I understood that apologies couldn't always fix the damage. Sometimes love doesn't die from betrayal, it dies from disbelief. When I returned home, I deleted Lily's number, blocked her on every platform, and cut all ties. But the damage had already spread far beyond me. News of Lily's lie spread quickly through our social circles. Friends who once adored her turned their backs. Her reputation crumbled, and the company she worked for quietly let her go, unwilling to keep someone whose name had become synonymous with deceit. As for me, I was left trying to rebuild a life from ruins. My mother, who had never liked Lily, unleashed her fury on me. "How could you," she scolded, "let one woman's jealousy destroy your marriage? I warned you about her, Shady. But you didn't listen. You threw away something good for nothing." Her words, though harsh, were true. I had failed to see through Lily's mask. I had failed to protect my marriage. Ryan moved on quietly, with dignity. I saw glimpses of him from time to time, walking with new friends, attending community events, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in years. He had found peace in a life without me. Meanwhile, I wrestled with shame. I replayed every decision, every careless doubt, every moment I allowed Lily's voice to drown out Ryan's. My heart broke not only for the man I had lost, but for the version of myself I had abandoned, someone who once believed in love, trust, and loyalty. It took me months to piece together a new rhythm of living. Therapy helped. Long walks alone helped. Journaling helped. But most of all, honesty helped, facing the truth I had tried so hard to avoid. The truth was simple yet devastating. Lily had been poison, but I had been the one to drink it willingly. I could blame her, and yes, she was cruel. But ultimately, it was my decision to doubt Ryan, my weakness that allowed envy and manipulation to triumph over love. That realization reshaped me, stripped away illusions, and left me with one core understanding: trust is the foundation of love. Without it, nothing survives. Love isn't about grand gestures or sweet words whispered in the dark. Love is built in the quiet moments, the times you choose to believe your partner even when it's easier to believe someone else. Love is choosing loyalty in the face of gossip, silence in the face of doubt, and faith in the face of fear. I learned this lesson too late to save my marriage. But I share it now, hoping it won't be too late for someone else. If you are in a relationship, guard your trust as if it were gold. Do not let jealousy, envy, or the bitterness of others dictate the story of your love. If someone outside your marriage whispers poison, pause. Ask yourself, does this align with the person I know? With the life we've built? Don't let a third party dictate the fate of what you and your partner have fought to create. Because once trust is broken, even if the truth comes to light later, the cracks remain. Love without trust is like a house without a foundation. It may stand for a while, but eventually it will collapse. So I leave you with this: cherish your love, defend it fiercely, and most importantly, trust the one you chose. Don't let a lily in your life plant seeds of doubt. Don't let envy masquerade as concern. Listen to your partner's heart above all else. And as for me, though I live with regret, I also live with growth. I know now what I didn't know then. And I hope my story becomes more than just a cautionary tale. It becomes a reminder that love, real love, is fragile but worth protecting. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never asked for but desperately needed. What I went through with Lily and Ryan didn't just teach me about marriage, it reshaped how I view trust in every corner of life. I began to notice how often we place our faith in the wrong places, in friendships that are rooted in envy, in colleagues who secretly hope we fail, in people who smile to our face but sharpen knives behind our back. What happened with Lily forced me to reevaluate every relationship I had. Trust, I realized, isn't about how long you've known someone, it's about how consistently they show up for you. Lily had been in my life for years, but her loyalty was hollow. She clapped when I struggled and sulked when I thrived. Looking back, the red flags had always been there. I just didn't want to see them. From then on, I made a promise to myself. Never again would I confuse proximity with loyalty. Not every friend is a true friend. Not every family member has your best interest at heart. And not every voice deserves a place in your most vulnerable decisions. This lesson stretched into my professional life too. I became more careful about who I trusted at work. I stopped oversharing personal details with coworkers who thrived on gossip. I learned to protect my boundaries, to value privacy, and to measure people not by their words but by their actions. Most of all, I began to trust myself again. For so long, I had silenced my own instincts, letting Lily's voice overpower my own. In doing so, I betrayed not only Ryan but myself. Rebuilding trust with myself was the hardest step, but it was also the most liberating. I started asking, does this person bring peace or poison? Do they clap for me when I win, or do they secretly hope I stumble? These questions became my compass. In life, just like in love, trust is the invisible thread that holds everything together. Without it, no friendship, no career, no dream can survive. My marriage became the casualty of my misplaced trust, but my future doesn't have to be. That's the truth I want to leave you with. Protect your trust, guard it wisely, and don't hand it over to just anyone. It's one of the most precious gifts you can give, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. If my words touched you, if this story made you reflect on your own relationships, I invite you to stay with me. Share this video with someone who might need it, leave a like if you found meaning in my journey, and don't forget to subscribe so we can continue exploring stories that reveal the truths of love, trust, and the human heart. 'Cause sometimes the hardest lessons we learn are the ones that can save someone else.